When you navigate to quince.infragistics.com, you're presented with the Quince homepage. There's various aspects of the Quince homepage that become more important as you use the various features of Quince, but what I'm going to focus on in this video is the public patterns library aspect of Quince. So right in the middle of your homepage, you have a drop-down, which is the main menu to access the patterns libraries. There's several ways to explore libraries in Quince. You can view all patterns. You can view by user tasks, you can view by tag relations, or by wireframe. If I go back up to view all patterns, you'll note that the screen refreshes and you have the scrollable list of all the patterns in the library. There's several ways to look at patterns. You can simply jump to patterns by their first initial. You can filter by various aspects of patterns. So if I want to do a faceted search on browse patterns or color patterns, I can use the filter by menu on the left. I'll go ahead and clear that filter. Now, when I look at a pattern, you're basically either searching to find out other examples of patterns, the rationale behind a pattern. Let's say you're building some software and you're trying to understand how to use known patterns in that software in a more efficient and better way. So for example, up across the top, this is actually called an alphanumeric links filter. So every time I select something, it's filtering the list underneath by the alphanumeric character. So if I clear this out, you'll notice that alphanumeric links happens to be one of the patterns in the library. So I'll go ahead and click on it, and you'll note here that we have some information about the alphanumeric links pattern. So on the left-hand side, we have a series of images with descriptions that highlight different examples of alphanumeric links. These examples have been collected by Infragistics, and we've posted them to the Quince library. If you want to enlarge one of the images, you can go ahead and select it and you can get more information on this particular image, which is an example of an alphanumeric link. If you want to share this image with someone, you can click the share button. We'll send the email for you, or you can copy and paste the URL. Let's say you're working with another developer, designer, or anyone, and you just want them to look at this particular pattern. You can go ahead and do that, as well as print a PDF. So I can click print, and then in my window I have a nice PDF document which will have table of contents, the actual pattern information, and the comments that are included in this particular image asset. And I can scroll some more, you can see some other examples. Now the interesting thing is, if you want to add your own examples to this particular pattern, you can sign into Quince and do that as well, which is cool. Aspect of Quince is that it's a social tool, so you can comment on patterns, you can add your own patterns, you can add images and comments to images in patterns. So it's pretty cool on how you can really get involved with the formulation of these patterns. Now on the right hand side, we actually have the details of the patterns. So here the template is the same for every pattern. You're going to see the problem, the solution that this pattern solves, the context for which the pattern should be used. And if I scroll down a bit, we have the rationale. Keep scrolling. There's implementation details. Continue to scroll down. Help me get there. So obviously Infragistics builds user experience components and controls across the .NET Framework, Web 2.0 platforms. And we'll link you right to controls that match this pattern, or you can link to our sample browser so you can actually see this stuff in action and working. And then we source where we had the original inspiration for this pattern. So this particular pattern came from an alphanumeric filter and links pattern in the Yahoo patterns library. As well on the bottom, you'll notice you can comment. So we have from the field, and this could be better. So this particular pattern actually has two comments. So if we select it, Matt Elin said, I've used this in a plugin using Microsoft Media Center's Gallery UI. And then Ambrose says, we actually use it in Quince. Ambrose is one of the designers of Quince initially. You could actually sign in and add your own comments as well. So I'll close out that pattern, and I actually end up back in the patterns list. To scroll patterns, I can just kind of scroll down, find what's interesting. Here's an extras on demand pattern. I select this. I'm presented with the same screen. I have images on the left that I can scroll through, as well as the pattern detail on the right hand side, and then the from the field comments, and this could be better comments. One item I didn't cover in the previous alphanumeric filter example was you can actually post this to Digit buzz, etc. Or you can actually subscribe to all the patterns or just this particular pattern through RSS. So you can get updated if there's changes made to the pattern, if people add elements. As well, if you want to look at the pattern in another format besides Silverlight, which is what this application is built using, there's an HTML view of the pattern as well. So you could actually just send the HTML view to someone and you'll see the exact same information. So I'll close this guy out and we're back to the list. Now I'm going to bring my drop-down menu and let's take a look at patterns by user task. So it's the same list of patterns, but it's a different sort of search on the left-hand side. So you see here users need to edit things, they need to find stuff, and they need to explore info. These are 3 top-level categories, and then within those top-level categories, you could actually find various patterns. If we go back to the main drop-down, let's look at tag relations. So what we've done is we've looked at the patterns, how they're related to each other, and the weight of the patterns. So you actually have a nice relationship map here which shows how all the patterns are sort of linked together. There's an overview plus detail view here on the bottom, so I could shrink this up, give you an idea of what this looks like. If I want to zoom in, and let's say I see there I want to look at some grid patterns, I could select grid, and then it's filtered out to just the grid patterns. And then, as you've seen before, you select a pattern, you get back to this particular pattern's details. So let's close that out. And then finally, the last way to look at patterns is by wireframe. So in this case, I'm looking at sort of a traditional Outlook style, Lotus Notes style UI where there's like a menu area at the top, there's nav on the left, and then you have various UI elements in the main area of the screen. When you hover over these patterns, you get a little bit of a preview. You can select one of the patterns and then you can go into this pattern area. Now what's interesting with Quince is that once you sign in, you can actually propose your own patterns. You'll be prompted with this dialog, and the patterns that you propose you can place in this wireframe. So when other folks look at the patterns, they can see where they're located. So again, the Quince Public Patterns Library is completely free. Once you register, you can contribute to the public library by adding screenshots, by adding comments, and actually adding your own patterns. Thanks for watching this intro video on the Quince Public Patterns Library. And as a reminder to visit the Quince Public Patterns Library, just navigate your browser to quince.infragistics.com. Thanks for watching.